Oh, they are so good. We miss you. You moved to New York City. You know, our daughters are having a love affair.
I know. I was like, when they were here before, I remember them playing together, and I was like, man, when I get to New York, we've got to. But you know what I'll say? Do you have this problem? My kids, I know this is like,
this is Vale and River Rose. That was like, well, now they're like 9 and 10, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a match made in heaven.
I know. I'm just saying, do you find that their schedule is as busy as yours?
What? I feel like all I do is logistics. I feel like the whole play date and who's got basketball and that I put it on it's like Carrie from Homeland, like trying to solve the puzzle, and it's completely mystifying.
I know, it's crazy. Parents have no lives sometimes.
Yes.
Do y'all hang out ever, like after work? Because you get up so early.
Yeah.
Like, and when you hang out, is it like, meet you at the bar at 3 p.m.?
It is. Well, you should, it's actually like, ain't no party like a 3 p.m. party. I'm telling you. The
Day drinking at its finest.
This is actually, so this was, we did a Today Show anchor's holiday party. That really was 3 o'clock in the afternoon at the Pebble Bar. Look at us. There's no line. No, it's already real shiny situation. Who do you think stayed out the latest that night? Like, who do you think?
I mean, she's a Texas girl. I'm gonna say Jenna.
Yes, it was Jenna. Who do you think goes home first?
I know that she is my identical twin in this, Hoda.
Yes, we call it the Houdini. She just disappears.
Houdini.
Yes, yeah. She's just like, you're like, where did Hoda go? She's first there.
And then
she's also like so on time. She's early to everything. So if you show up on time exactly, she's like, you're late.
Oh,
but anyway,
no,
yeah,
that's
so we had a crazy night. Me, Chanel, Dylan.
That's a fun crew.
And Jenna were the last to leave.
It's just hard to have like a social life after work when you have to go to bed so early.
I know. Well, you just have to early the whole thing up. I mean, that's why people are always like, you know, on the Today Show, we have cooks all the time. And, you know, like today we had a burger battle.
Yeah.
It's 8 a.m. We were eating like 3 burgers.
It's a lot.
There's some wine there.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, how do you do that? And I always say, well, like for us, this is lunch.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we get up so early.
And you're sipping. It's not like you're like,
no, I mean, just on Fridays.
Yeah. Those are special days.
Yes, exactly.
I didn't know this, but I love Montana. That's where my ranch is. And I didn't know that your start was technically Montana.
It was a very short start. My first job in local news was in Butte, Montana. I went to school in Arizona and I graduated and I got this job in Butte, Montana, which was like the tiniest local news market you could go to in the country. I had never lived even away from home. I lived at home in college.
Yeah.
And I went up there.
That's a different kind of weather as well.
Everything.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to drive in the snow.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm from the desert. But anyway, I went there, worked there 10 days, and they closed the station.
How sad.
That was like crushing, because I was like, Butte, Montana, I have arrived. Like, I'm gonna be the next Diane Sawyer. And they're like, here's actually what's gonna happen. We're closing. You gotta go back home. Yes, it was very, very.
That's horrible.
I know. It was a lot. But
now I hate that I even brought it up. That just sounds sad.
But it ended up okay.
Okay, yeah, it did. You're doing well.
Yeah. We didn't know. I thought that was the end.
Yeah.
Before it ever started, but.
Oh, that's the worst when you're young and you're like, I remember when LeAnn Rimes came out, I was like, we're from literally the same area. We performed at the same place. Oh. She was country night, I was gospel night, and she made it. And I was like, oh, there's no way 2 of us are making it.
Well, I know,
like,
you did. I remember that feeling, you know, you'd be like, well, there's only one kid coming out of Tucson, Arizona.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like, so, no, you never know.
It's like never gonna happen. It worked for us. Well done, us. But wait, so how do you think it's changed, though, since just news in general, I feel like has changed, but like even giving the news, like how do you feel like that's evolved over the years you've been doing it?
Well, it's so funny when I go back and look at, I try not to go back and look at my local news days because it's, I mean, for starters, just the hair.
Yeah.
Like the hair, well, okay.
There's nothing wrong with that hair.
By
that
the
was
way,
in the times.
That was a good hair day.
Yeah,
okay? That's my natural hair color, by the way.
Nothing
almost
wrong
black.
with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I was like just trying so hard to be grown up. I mean, I was like 21 years old, and I wanted to have that newscaster voice. I didn't want to sound the way I sound. And so I would try to put on this like really low, like Diane Sawyer, like, in the news today, you know, 4 people were stabbed at the local blah, blah, blah. You know, and it was like, who's talking? You know, and then the commercial would come on, and I'd be like, anyway, no. I was just trying so hard to be grown up and
taken seriously.
To be the kind of what I thought. It took me a long time to kind of find my own voice.
Yeah, I think that's everyone, right?
Yeah.
In any job or vocation, like just coming up, it's just hard because you want to be taken seriously.
Ever like try to
Oh my God, I think
copy
all
other
singers are imitators until you, especially I think touring helped me out tremendously. Like luckily I like so many different kinds of artists that there's different vibes in there, but yeah, we're all imitators until you kind of create your own little thing.
I bet touring, because I feel like not until I started doing these live shots where I didn't have the time to prepare the fake voice.
Yeah, that's
like I had to just talk.
Yeah.
That's how I was like, okay, I can't do this act anymore. I have to just be me because I can't.
No, touring helped me like that.
Yeah.
Because I sound very different from whenever I started to like now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully you do. Hopefully we grow and evolve, or that's sad.
I know.
Her new book is out now, and it's called Mostly What God Does. So we were talking about the news a minute ago. I can't imagine, like, doing a talk show is different. I try and, like, it's not like I'm giving hard news all the time, and it can be very negative, the environment, having to give that news all the time. Like, what do you do to, like, chill or check out?
You know what? It is, I mean, it's a lot. We love, the Today Show is the best job as far as I'm concerned because it's a little bit of everything and it's mostly just all joy. But we do cover the news, and the news can break your heart, and especially early in the morning, you know, you wake up, and I think you don't have to be the host of the Today Show to know what that feels like, where you open your phone and you feel like you're bombarded by these headlines.
Yeah, but we can turn it off,
Yeah.
and you know, can't.
Well, true.
Yeah.
I can turn myself off.
Compartmentalize.
Yes, I mean, what I try to do is keep it in perspective. I mean, I think that's why, I mean, faith's always been important to me, but I really lean on it because we need perspective when we're looking around and the world is just not what we would wish or hope it to be. It can really, really get you down into despair. And I just try to, I feel like faith gives me a perspective and helps me kind of lift up and out of myself, which we all need sometimes.
Yeah, faith is really important to you. So what's a point in your life where faith really pulled you out, that you were like really down?
I mean, so many times actually, but I mean, certainly like when I was a teenager, my father passed away when I was 16 years old. And it was really hard and it's very, you know, it was a shock. One of those things that kind of changes your whole life, changes your whole personality, changes your family. And, you know, I remember people saying, oh, well, can you still believe in God after that? And I remember thinking, this is when I need him the most. This is when I need my faith the most, even though, you know, it doesn't mean you don't have moments where you're disappointed with God or, you know, feel distant or sad or have a breach of trust in a way, you know, you're like, how could this happen to me? But I never doubted that God was there. But I think the book is a lot about kind of a journey of faith and realizing, and the book's called Mostly What God Does, and the rest of the sentence is mostly what God does is love you. Yeah. And I think, you know, I'm no expert or anything. I'm not a biblical scholar. I didn't go to seminary or anything, but I'm just a regular person who has lived a life of ups and downs and disappointments, mostly with myself, and setbacks, and faith has been the thing that's really carried me, and I just felt like I had something good I wanted to say about God and share with people that, you know, no matter what, a lot of times we kind of ask ourselves, like, what does God think of me? Or have I ruined my life? Have I screwed up all my chances or whatever? And, you know, the simple answer is simple, but it's not easy to believe, but mostly what God does is love you. And I think that's true for every human heart.
Yeah. Your mom gave you a gift that kind of helped you find your way, and I think this is cool. And it was kind of a regular thing that you did, right?
Right. And I write about it in the book because I used to journal all the time. My mom, as I was in my 20s and 30s, gave me this blank journal every year at Christmas time.
And you never swayed? Like, I always do it for like a few weeks, and then I'm like, and then I find a journal that I started 2 years ago.
That's all my journals are, but it was like consistent over the years, but there would be months of blank pages.
Yeah,
and then I'd come back, well, I think you just can't be too hard on yourself about it.
Yeah.
By the way, I haven't journaled in years, not regularly, but there was just a time when I was journaling, and it was so fascinating to go back and look. I kind of like blew the dust off of the like metaphorical closet, like, okay, let's bring out the old journals, let's bring out the like Savannah season 1 psyche and look at it, you know, and it's kind of cringe, as my daughter might say, to look and kind of have that encounter with your former self, but it's beautiful also because you can see progress.
Oh,
so,
absolutely.
You know, so I actually think
that's like songs for me.
Yeah.
Like writing, like about, But yeah, I always start out a journal. It sounds so great. You know, those people at coffee shops that are just, you know, I'm like, I want to be that person. And then I do it for a week. And then I'm like,
I know. It's hard to keep up, but even
Yeah.
a little bit goes a long way. Is
Yeah.
kind of my theory of the case.
Yeah, I think mine is because it's my form of that is writing songs.
Yes.
So I think that's why
You have your
it's like
journals.
extra. Yeah,
Yes.
I know.
Are there any songs that you sing now and you're like, oh, I hate singing this song because it reminds me of this time I did
100%, and then I change the lyrics, Savannah.
You do? I love that.
It's just, I think that's the growth too. That's evolving. That's us all changing, and that's fine.
And it's, you know, to see that progress. So you might for a moment be like, oh, how did I write this? Or my journal is so embarrassing or whatever. But then you have to give yourself a little grace and think about, well, where am I now?
Yeah.
And, you know, all that time, you know, I was being carried. That's how I feel, you know? Like, that's where my faith comes in. It's like, oh, I can see actually in that trajectory, I can see this invisible hand that was not really apparent to me in those moments.
Yeah. We're not always good at big picture. Yeah, I will say that. Well, let's do another quick break. You can see Savannah every weekday morning on Today on NBC. Her new book is called Mostly What God Does, and it's out now. Y'all got to check it out.